And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I do every day. How are you all doing? What's going on? And I am here with you. I'm going to set this up on Instagram also. I forgot to do that properly. My little copy page was a little off. Okay, let's get that right. How you doing this morning? Good morning to everyone. Good morning. And it is great. New York is going to get some rain tonight. We're getting rain tonight, y'all. Rain is on the way. I am so excited. I cannot believe it. Can you believe it? We have not had rain in 50 plus days. 50 plus days. Uh, 50 plus days. What is going on? What is going on? Everything is changing around us. The world is changing. Again, for those that don't believe in climate change, they are crazy. And guess what else we may be getting on Friday? We might see snow in New York City. Snow. Yes. You know I love snow. Even though it won't stick. It'll be too warm to stick, but it'll be in the sky. I'm so excited because, New York also had a snow deficit. We only got like a couple of inches of snow in 500 days, 500 plus days, almost 600 days. So, yeah, New York is not getting the weather right. So we are extremes. Okay, let's say good morning. Let's say good morning. Today, first of all, is Water Cooler Wednesday, Water Cooler Talk Wednesday. And we just talking about whatever we want to talk about today as a community. We just talk. We just going to share. Okay, now I can say, good morning, Aya says, Grand Rising, Ron and everyone at TBD, RLP, Community. I love how she says unity. And then we got the wonderful Anthony Rowland. Good morning, fam. He says, and third is our Jazzy Jazz. She says, good morning, beautiful people. And then we got Miss G.R. Houston. Miss Jack is in the building. And that is it, right? That doesn't that's like commands that little echo. And we have someone new in the building. Coffee is everything. Good morning from Colorado. Yes, welcome from Colorado. Coffee is everything. I like that. And we also have in the building our Chris R. We've got rain for the rest of the week. We need rain. We need rain. New York needs rain. You guys are getting what's getting ready for the Pineapple Express. It's going to start raining a lot over in the West Coast and lots of snow in the mountains. Warren says, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Warren, I like those photos you put up on our Blue Sky. Yes. Looking good. Make those posts. Anyway, let me bring Miss G on to the building. Let me bring her into the building. Miss G.
You gotta work. If that's the case, let me give you some music. You can do it right.
I know. I need some music like. What's going on, Miss G?
Well, for me to put all my business in the streets, I love my word choice. I had to schedule an appointment with the Henna Banga.
What's the Henna Banga?
The Henna Banga.
Oh, yes. Henna. Like henna. Yes, that's the henna. Yes, you like those
She's
hennas.
titled the Henna Banga. Yes.
Yes.
A sister's looking scrumptious right now, and I'm finna get on the beach. Oh, it's about to be on. It's about to be on. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, let me go ahead and get my schedule, get my appointment on the books, because she tends to get booked up around like November and December. So I was like, I need to get in. I was in her DMs this morning and said, I don't remember what I scheduled last time, so help me out. But I need to do it again because, that's what's really going on.
Well, I mean, hello, you are getting ready for your big cruise.
Yeah. And I didn't go out this morning. I figured I should sit down for a second. So
Cool.
for those
Sit down a second.
Yeah, man, I know, right? Like,
there's
take
a
a
reason
picture
why they call
because-
her the Black Power Bunny.
yeah, I was like, let me not, because so I've been doing all of these challenges, and I'm trying to decide if I'm going to run a race in February. Like, I haven't ran any races since 2020, so 2019. And I
so you
thought,
thinking about getting back on the road? You thinking about getting back into the marathon mode?
I am tempted. I am tempted to get back out there. I enjoy running, but I'm a loner, so I'm kind of like Forrest Gump.
Most runners are loners. Most runners are loners.
I have to wonder. I'm wondering.
They are. Most runners
it's a
are loners.
Person sport, right? Like
it's a single person sport, and most just like cyclists. Cyclists have a tendency to be loners.
Right. So yeah, I'm tempted now. I bought two pair of sneakers, because I don't know. I need some running shoes. So why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, bought two pair of sneakers, and there is time to train because I haven't done anything long distance in forever. And the husband said, you should not try to do a 15K. And I was like, why not? He's like,
15K, that's a lot, isn't that? How many miles are the 15K?
Just 9.
Oh, that's a lot of miles.
Just 9 miles.
I remember I used to run the corporate challenge, and we used to do, what was it, 3.5 miles, and I was like, oh, this is the end of the world.
that first mile, people. So 2 things. One, everyone doesn't have to run. Everyone's not meant to run. Let me just say that. You can get a lot of good work from doing power walking. Like I power walk at this point.
Yes, I power walk.
And it's easier on the body, and but
on the joints, the knees, the knees.
I mean, it's because that's like constant work. But running a mile, that is not easy, and it's more mental than anything.
Yeah,
it's like that first mile. I say to myself, and pardon me, but I'm like, Heifer, you paid for this? You paid for this. You got out of your bed. It is 5:00 in the morning, and you out here running. And for what? Some race bling and like a banana at the finish line.
The banana and a granola bar.
The granola bars.
the mind, what they call the mind granola bars after all the race.
Yes, that first mile is a killer, and people like to downplay it. Running a mile is something. You're like, what? It's only been a quarter mile? Yes, it's only been a quarter. You got how many more of these to go?
The mile, the first mile is the hardest. It really is.
It is
even in cycling. You would think, and it doesn't matter how long you've been cycling. That first mile, when you get out and get on the bike and you ride that first mile, it's like, ooh. But then it starts to kick in. Everything starts kicking in. The body momentum starts moving. The leg energy starts moving. I haven't ran in years. So I've ever since I tore my meniscus, I have not ran. But you know what's so funny? Last night I had a dream. I was running. It was so funny that we're talking about this subject. Last night I had a dream. I was in a marathon, some kind of marathon or some kind of running thing.
Really?
And I was like, in the dream, I was like, how did I do all of this when I knew? I mean, I'm so proud of myself that I was able to do this. It was weird. It was like, maybe I may be doing it in the future. Maybe it was one of those, one of those deja vus. You have a dream, a premonition, and then now, 6 years from now, it happens, and you're like, oh wow, that's what happened.
Well, I go between, at this point, like I said, I power walk a quarter or a half mile, and then I'll jog or run really fast for like a quarter or a half a mile, and then
Anthony says, what about strolling? Does that count? Look, movement
counts.
Movement counts. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Move the body.
And it's good for your mind too. Like it really is good for your mind. So don't ever think, oh, I can't. It's not about, people think that running is everything. Running is not everything. It is not. And no offense, but for some of the people that I watch, some of their running form, God, is so awkward.
It's so awkward.
It's like people
like
code or something. They're like, yeah.
And I'm like,
you know,
you need control. You need to like have your body in control, and their bodies are
there's a
everywhere.
lot.
And I mean, I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Because I'm Prospect, I walk around Prospect Park. I do a lap around Prospect Park. I walk from my house to the Prospect Park and do a lap at least once a week. And then I walk from my house every other day up to Grand Army Plaza and back every other day. So, but the people that are running around Prospect Park, I'm like, some of them are like in form. You see their bodies are in. The angles, everything is like a dancer.
The people in my neighborhood, some of them, and forgive me when I say this, want to do that whole Barbie and Ken thing and come out with like, no shirt and then wear like a sports bra. I would love to just wear a sports bra. But, all these girls right here, like moving the things, that's work. That's real work out there, right? So I appreciate those who don't have all of this going on, doing their little thing. Hey, girl, have at it. But it's a lot of work. Like it's literally it's weight, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's moving.
Women have a lot to contend with. I'm just sorry. I always tell people all the time, God knew what He was doing when He made me a man. I tell you, the stuff that women go through, I'm like, holy moly. That's why I have so much. I have empathy, sympathy, all of the things for women, because y'all do a lot. Y'all got a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. And I was looking at some of my photos and I forget. Now I know as a photographer I should do better. I recognize that. But there is a collection of photos where I have been at the wrong angle and it's like all bosom. I'm like, damn, G, what you got? Girl, you got to take care of that. It's just so awkward. So they never see the light of day. But I do, for some reason, I'm like, maybe one day I'll make like a book. But I do recall once, funny enough, I was doing a 7K, a Prince 7K in Las Vegas. And it happens in April. It still happens. If you're a Prince fan, you could drive or fly to Las Vegas and do this run in Sunset Park. And so I thought I'm going to take my Samsung 360 and run with it and record my race, which sounds great, right? Because it's recording this way, but it's also recording this way. And it's just, so I was like, we're not going to share this. My husband would not be happy with me.
Amparo said, running and sports bra equal Mike Tyson knockout.
Girl, like I said,
before you go on, if anyone in the chat, anyone in the community right now, if you are a runner, could you put in "I'm a runner" inside the comment box? I'm a runner. I want to know who the runners are in the building. I'm a cyclist, but I mean, how many people out there are the runners? My friend, and I'm just to interject here.
No, go ahead.
My friend Jackie, I'm gonna call her out by name because she's my superhero. We all grew up in church together, and she out of nowhere decided to start running marathons. Like, the first marathon years ago, and the next thing you know, she is in every marathon. She does the Boston, she does this one, she goes overseas, she's in London, she's everywhere. And we ran into each other 3 months ago at Grand Army Plaza. That's up the hill from my house. And I was like, Jackie, I am so inspired by you. And she's taking it. I mean, we're in the same age group. And she is just like, she's a superhero. She's like Wonder Woman to me. I mean, she really goes out there and she runs and runs. And so some years I say, is she going to run the marathon this year? Like clockwork, she's ran the New York City Marathon. She's ran at least 5 of them, I think. It's amazing.
Competitive. They are competitive. Like you just don't get in that. Like you have to meet a certain time.
The quotas, the stats. Yes.
In order for you to qualify. Now I am competitive. I do admit that. Like I started keeping tabs in my personal records. So when I turned 40, like everybody, right? Midlife crisis. Oh my God. Okay. So it wasn't midlife crisis, but I like to do strange things. So I said, I'm going to run a marathon this year. Like, why not? And so because I have people around me who love to pump me up, they're like, gee, You should do 40
you should
races.
run a marathon because
Yeah.
anyone that walks out last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, and you were in your competitive mode with your walking team.
Oh,
this girl walked 5,000 football fields.
I was doing like 20,000 steps, like so 10-mile days back to back. The body was feeling it. But that year I turned 40. I actually did 44 races because I'm that chick, right? 44 races. I did a couple of marathons, a host of half marathons, and then a lot of 10Ks and 5Ks. So we were really running like we stole something. It was a good thing. But I will say this: a marathon is highly overrated, extremely overrated, and I mean that.
Well,
highly.
The ones that run it don't think it so. I mean, and my cousin's I want to say fiance. I just say girlfriend. His girlfriend, she runs runs all over the globe. She goes to the South America. She goes to the Caribbean islands. She goes to the Philippines. She goes to the Europe. She goes all over America. I mean, and when she has a bar that was in her room, and she had like hundreds of medals across. It was just
there's not enough room for all of them. Like you can't see it in mine.
Yeah.
Mine are
you have something like that too, right?
Yeah, I got him right there. There's not enough room for a third one, but I would make them if I could. It's really about the race bling. Like we just get addicted to it. I did my first marathon in Jamaica. And I just knew, I was like, this is going to be the bomb. I'm going to fly to Jamaica and do this. I've been working out, practicing in Texas heat, and just about died, literally, because they ran out of water on the racetrack.
No.
Now it starts early. It starts like about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, so you don't have the sun beating on you.
That's what happens when you go running in Jamaica.
Yeah, they ran out of water, and they had the sports drink.
Shout out to all the Jamaicans in the building.
Man, it's work. And so I ended up not passing out completely, but I fell back and I missed the wall. And so they put me in the ambulance, which is fine until they drive off. Wow. And so the guy closed the door, and I was like, I didn't pay all this money. I cannot go back home empty-handed. I cannot. So I got out with 2 bags of water and limped, and they followed me. They kept,
like you a celebrity.
They're like, this chick is about to pass out. Let's just go ahead and stay close. But I actually passed 2 people. So I was like, well, I'm not the last one. There you go.
Well, on another note, first of all the cyclists in the building. I'm a cyclist. Any other cyclists in the building? Even though I haven't been on my bike almost all year, but I am a cyclist. I have 2 bikes, and I need to clean them up and get them back on the road. Especially, I mean, I need to ride, but I love cycling. Cycling has become
like big thighs.
Yeah, you get great glutes. I mean, so
I don't need the thighs.
Your thighs, the glutes, the calves. Well, I think something's wrong genetically with Black folks.
Before you even said it, I was like,
that was like, I know that sounds so generic, but Black men, we work so hard. Like we have the hardest time getting calves. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule, but we be cycling, we be going everywhere. We are cycling miles, 50 miles, 60 miles, 100 miles, and we're just cycling, and our calves still look like little bird legs. And then I also have some of my friends that are like in the gym, they're pumping iron, they got the muscles, they got the upper body, they got their thighs are strong, but their calves, it's like. And then I look at my Asian brothers and sisters, mainly my Asian brothers. They got the best calves in the world.
I am not a calf person. I don't care about your calves. Okay.
I've always wanted good calves. I've always wanted good calves. I said, but I noticed a lot of my brothers, the Black brothers, no calves. And work hard to get them.
Are they really working hard to get calves though?
Yes.
I mean, come on, seriously.
Yes. I mean, we
woman,
have
what
we
woman's
have
like,
where's our
ooh, we girl, look at them calves right there. Ain't nobody doing that, Ron. Ain't nobody doing that.
we have our, like, I used to have this step thing here. Like I was looking to see if it's still here, and you used to get up in the morning and do your calf exercise and kind of like do your toes and get your calves into work.
Yeah.
You know, to build the calves when you're, also it's great for cycling. And when you cycle miles and miles, you were like, okay, the calves should be coming alive. Now, some people say now my calves are better than they were when I was a kid. When I was a kid, they used to tease me. They used to call me chicken legs. But that's another story because I was extremely thin, and those days are gone. So they called me chicken legs when I was a child. I could not gain weight, not one bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, as an adult, weight is my thing.
I just, and I don't want to, I know we had a conversation. So, but I'm thinking for the average woman.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at no dude's calves. Like, no, nobody cares about the calves. If a guy has nice lips, then now granted, I am married now. So
yeah, see, there's Anthony says, I have friends who are bodybuilders. And black men inherently have small calves.
My husband played volleyball, though. Like, he played volleyball. So he has nice calves.
We can't get our calves. I mean, no matter how hard we work on them. I mean, it takes a lot of work to get calves.
Ain't nobody
we brothers. I'm just saying. Anyway, I hear the bell going ding dong.
I hear the bell.
Did you hear a bell? Is it?
I heard a bell.
It's Mr. Chris.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Frenchie.
Oh, Mr. World Traveler.
Mr. World Traveler. Mr. Frenchie is in the building.
How's everybody doing? It's funny. I literally just got off a work call and I had the conversation playing in the background, but I had the sound on, and I hear you say, "Oh, calves, and black men don't have calves." Let me tell you something. I got good calves. That's the one thing I do have. That's one of the things that I do have, and that's one of the things that my husband loves about me. Like, I have some good calves. Everyone always talking like, "Where you get those calves from?" I was born with them.
Well, I mean, you could develop them. Like, for instance, Adrian says, "Real talk, my friend has grapefruit-sized calves, and he ran track." But again, he ran track. But again, when you look at most track runners, they don't have calves. Hello.
Yeah, no, I've always had that. That's been like my one thing. Like, I don't have good upper body. I have great legs. I'm not even gonna front on them.
So you're a reversal. You're a reversal man.
And on top of it, now
you're an upside down man.
Yeah, and then I started running, and then became even better. So
you're an upside down.
I have great legs. I know I got great legs. So. Which is
I tell you, it's hard to work.
Next month.
Yes, please excuse me. I have a slight cold I'm getting over. Travel, you always come back with a cold.
Since you're here, Chris, and this is our water cooler day.
Yeah.
How was your time in London and Paris?
Man, I was going to save it for Thursday and Friday, but it was amazing. Ronald and I didn't really have a structured plan. We're going to do this on this day. We just wanted to go experience everything, and then as we're there, all right, well, we want to do this, we want to do that, and it was I hate to use the word life changing, but there's something about when you travel, especially when you go somewhere new, to be able to experience certain things. It really does alter how you view the world. I've been to lots of countries. We talk about it. I've traveled a lot. Ronald's now starting to travel, and it was such a beautiful experience. And I have to say, for me, it was beautiful because I was able to see somewhere different through someone else's eyes, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I don't know if you haven't followed us on social media, we posted a lot of stuff in our stories.
Yes, you did.
We were very conscious to do that. And for me, the one moment that is just seared into my brain was the night of his birthday when we were on the river, Sten, on our boat cruise, and we were having dinner. After dinner, it was dessert time, and they brought out this birthday with the big candles and sparklers, and just the joy on his face. It still kind of gets to me. He was so happy. And we were surrounded by other couples. There was a couple that was from Tampa. They were celebrating their 10th year wedding anniversary. Then there was another couple right beside us. The lady was celebrating her birthday.
Mm.
Someone on the other end of the boat just got engaged. As a matter of fact, it was a couple that took the video and the photo of us on top of the boat of the Eiffel Tower as it's sparkling. They got engaged like literally after they gave us back the phone.
Wow.
So I mean, like that whole experience, like we were in London that morning. We had breakfast.
Mhm.
We got to the train station. It was a beautiful train ride. Now, mind you, didn't realize there's an hour time difference between London and Paris right now. So we thought we had to like literally, we got to the hotel. We had like 30 minutes to change. I could not find my white shirt. Come to find out, I left my white shirt hanging in the closet in London, but it's all right. We figured it out. We jumped in an Uber, and let me tell you something. The traffic everywhere is just horrible.
In
Paris and
London.
London, even in Paris.
Paris, you thought Paris was hard?
Oh,
Hard? Really?
listen to me. It was saying initially it was supposed to be like a
London
30
is the
minute.
worst in the world. One
No,
of the worst.
London was horrific. I thought New York traffic was bad or Atlanta traffic was bad. London's horrible.
Yeah, it's one of the worst.
And it's horrible because the fact that, if you're in like we were staying in like central London, we got off at Paddington Station and we're going to Bayside, which is only a 3 mile drive. We could have walked that 3 miles in less than like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It took us an hour in a vehicle to get to the hotel. I'm just like,
Mm.
and then people didn't just drive crazy. Like it reminded me of like back home in Jamaica, but other than that, it was fine.
Chris,
But
Adrian
yeah,
says this, it's so funny here to me. He says, y'all imagining this story in your mind like a Sex in the City episode.
yes, exactly. So we're like, we're like dragged in the back of the Uber, trying to like looking at this driver, like, can't you just like drive a little bit faster? I mean, they're taking all the detours to try to get it there because we had dinner reservations at
Mm.
7:30. So we thought the cruise was leaving at 7:30. We got there at 7:28.
Wow.
Run down to the pier, get in, and like everyone's just sitting there. And we're like, now mind you, also I even texted them in the app saying that we're running a little bit late. We see they have another one at 8:30. Should we get on the one at 8:30? Come find out that was actually our cruise. They want you there at 7:30 to get on the boat for 8:30. We were like the second people to get on the boat.
Nice. It all
But
worked out.
it all worked out. We had an amazing time. It was just memorable. We did the Louvre on Thursday. We did Notre Dame that Thursday. The Wednesday we spent just like roaming the streets of Paris, outside the tourist area. We went to the observation. Ron and I had this talk on Monday. We went to this observation tower that it's the tallest building in Paris and it's hated by everyone because it's ugly.
Because it's an
And it's
anomaly.
like, and when you go up there, like you think you're gonna get this great observation experience like you do like in New York and other places and like Chicago. We gotta do like this is it. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
it's the big
It
giant
was
black building in the middle
yeah,
of nowhere. I mean, well,
yeah,
not in no, but it's in the middle of old Paris. Because if you
yeah,
go down to Dupont, you go down to the other end of Paris, you see all the tall, modern
yes,
buildings. Everything
yeah.
is modern. And it's like new Paris and old Paris.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say we appreciate about that side of town was like it was like that classic French and Paris vibe. Like we after we left out of there, we just found a little cafe to go to and have lunch. It was beautiful.
Mm.
The food was good. Let me tell you something. The one thing I will say about Paris, if they don't got nothing else, the food is
I tell everybody
impeccable in Paris. I'm
the
just like everything
food.
I ate felt like it just slid down my throat. It was just like you don't have to chew nothing. Everything's just like buttery soft and oh
It was so, I mean, look, Paris is everything. I mean,
yes.
I tell people all the time, the only thing I don't like about Paris, and maybe you discovered this time that they changed the laws, is that the outdoor seating are for the smokers for most places. So most of the
Mm,
places you go to, the people are smoking outside and they get the great seats because they're all outside and the people that don't smoke are usually on the inside.
Well, so here's the thing. I think that wasn't really a thing when we were there because of the fact that it's off season and it's colder. So if you choose to sit outside now, like that's your own thing. But I will say something about outside. I didn't realize I mean, Paris is really about outdoor cafes.
Yes,
Everywhere you go, there are chairs and a little seat, and they're all facing the street so everyone can watch
people
people
watchers.
go by. But in addition to that, like they all have little blankets on the chairs.
Yeah, some of the restaurants.
I'm
Yes,
just like, okay.
get
Like
cozy.
yeah,
Get
like
cozy.
you see people come in and they put the little blanket on themselves to keep themselves warm. They off, order a coffee, whatever.
Oh,
It
there's a
was
question in the
it was
room.
great.
There's a question,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Chris. And Paula says, "Can we see some of your pics here together, or is that
Yeah, so what I'll do is
on Friday?"
I'll put something together on Friday. And by the way, let's make Friday a celebration because Friday's actually my birthday.
Yes,
Oh,
let's
So
celebrate Friday.
so
Blessed Chris'
so
birthday.
yeah, so let's do that. I'll put
woo.
together a little slideshow for Friday with some pictures, and Ronald actually did a little video that's on our page. I'm putting together a more extensive video. Cause I shot a ton of. I was very intentional about this vacation to capture as much of it as possible, but also be very present.
Yes.
So I always make sure I walked with it, but I wanted to make sure I was having fun in the moment. So recorded a lot of stuff. We posted a lot of stuff in our stories.
You did post
Um,
a lot in your story. I was like,
yeah,
whoa, they're having a
like
good time. They're there. They're this place.
and the thing about it is, when I used to travel, I never posted things while I was there because I never wanted to, I always did it after I came back. But we would like take a photo and just post it and put it out there.
Yeah.
We were very intentional about that this time, and we had a great time.
Well,
We did not want to come back. We even made fun and said that when we were leaving, like we were fleeing the country. Um, but it was so good, and I did not listen to.
yes.
I have to say, since the election, I have not listened to any news. CNN, MSNBC has not been on. The only thing I've done is I've listened to my podcast, like for MSNBC stuff, like Joy Reid and Rachel,
Mhm.
but other than that, the TV stays off.
Well, I think also a lot of people are just trying to purge their brains and purge their
Yeah,
minds. I mean, I just started looking at it again this week. And, I was going to talk about Joe Scarborough and Mika today, but I was
that
like,
was the whole thing.
that's the whole, that was like, that kind of, they pissed me off.
Yeah,
I said Joe Scarborough, they're just pissing me off in a way. And not only did I get pissed off, but lots of people were upset with that move. But anyway, we have Elise in the building. What's going on, Elise?
hey,
Hi, I'm just listening. Came in on the late conversation. My husband and son have great calves. They have beautiful legs. I encourage my son to put those shorts on to show those legs.
Mama says you got good calves. Now wear those shorts.
Yeah,
yeah.
he wasn't an athlete either. My husband was
See, it's
ran track.
genetic.
They
It's
just have
genetic.
It is
they just
genetic.
have
I
great
think it
legs.
is.
They
It's
have great
genetic.
legs and eyelashes.
Ooh,
Well,
Great
that I
legs and
don't
eyelashes.
have.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
I
have
have
eyelashes.
eyelashes. I used to
I
have
don't.
long eyelashes.
Ronald
have
has great eyelashes.
Yeah.
they have great eyelashes. They have great
But
eyelashes and legs and lips.
Well, that we got. That we
legs.
got.
But I used to, I used to like want calves. If we go back to that subject, I wanted
Well,
calves. I
listen.
was like, I
But
want
hold on, Ron.
calves.
Speaking of that, do you know that
Yeah.
that's probably one of the
See
number
Adrian's
one?
comment.
It's one of the number one cosmetic surgeries for men. Calf implants.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, see, yeah, because
Yes.
calves are not easy to
Yes.
have.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, it
It's
is. Yes, Chris.
calf
Thank you for
calf
thank you.
implants for men are one of the top enhancement
Hmm.
surgeries that they do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Am I
either.
missing something? Am I missing something?
Adrian says to Elise, not Elise pimping her son out.
Well,
Look,
listen,
if you got great legs, you
He has
have
great
to give it
legs.
all.
Look, if you got great legs, you got to show them off. I'm telling you, but I'm telling you, calves is a hard thing. The only people I know, my Asian friends, like my buddy, who I'll be hanging out in a couple of weeks with in North Carolina, Mimbo has calves, but he's Korean. Most Asian men have great calves, but we black
Didn't know
folks, most of us are like wandering in
skinny
the
legs.
desert.
So Ron,
Chicken
I'll tell you
legs.
what my mother told me because I have, my legs are skinny. My mother
Yes.
told me, and I was young. I was in my early teens or whatever, talking
Mhm.
about my skinny legs. She said, "Let me tell you, I've never heard a man ask me for my legs." So she said, "Don't worry about it."
That part.
From that point on, I was like,
Wisdom.
"So what?"
Wisdom from mama.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. Well, I ain't gonna go down that road, but most men are not interested in calves. I mean, they like the calves when they see the women with their, when my mom
Big
had
heels and
calves.
stuff.
When my mom wore her high heel shoes to work when we were growing up and we were kids. My mother was very fashion conscious and always wearing the best of everything. And so she would walk down the street and all the men would be whistling and, "Hey girl, what's going on? Hey." And all of the men would whistle and all that stuff. My mom would walk and my mother would walk with her high heel shoes and all the other stuff. But yeah, it's not an easy thing for us men. But
I love a good pair of high heels. I still have my 4.75.
I don't.
Adrian says this conversation is looking to turn. I almost went there, Adrian. I almost said what people.
We could have gone there.
I was like, I know what men really look at, but I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, it's not your legs.
Not your legs.
It's what's attached to your legs.
Absolutely, that's all that.
And I think that's a universal thing.
It's all about the glutes. Can we just say it's the glutes?
Hello, why you think women are getting butt BBLs?
Yeah, they get their lifts. White. Sorry to say white girls, but white girls are getting the lifts. Or anyone that doesn't have it.
I will admit that when I am late coming into my body. I'm like so in my season, literally ugly duckling becoming a swan. My brothers would tell you there are pictures, right? But in the 90s in high school, I was a big fan of Tammy Webb's Buns for Steel. Right, so I had the step machine, the little step thing. I was working because wasn't nothing now. It wasn't a hip, it wasn't a dip. It was good, and I had to work really hard to figure something out. Now it didn't show up till later, but I was dedicated to the cause. I was dedicated.
That's
and now you're looking good. You are your fullest.
Man, I am turning all the fucking heads. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean,
listen,
when
Gwendolyn
and I used to go out, every time we went out, I would say, "This is my wife, Gwendolyn," and Gwendolyn would say, "This is my husband. This is my husband." So we would walk around the city. We had events that we would go to, and every time I felt like a champion because I was like, "Yeah, I'm with Gwendolyn," and all the men would be like, "Oh, he's with her."
We were head turners. I should say we are head turners, Ron.
That's right. We were a head turner couple. That's right. We were walk around the city.
I have my Diane von Furstenberg dresses, and Diane loves a good deep V. Mm-hmm. So obviously, I'm going through my closet, and I'm showing the husband. It's like, I gotta get rid of this. He's like, no, don't get rid of that one. You don't have to get rid of that. I was like, oh, okay, Mr. Jack. Okay, I see you.
I'm listening to. Dr. Tati says, not buns of steel. Yes. Remember that?
I had buns and abs of steel.
And then also Adrian says, wow, dating ourselves. Did you have the leg warmers and sweatbands? Remember those long legs, those sweatbands?
No leg warmers.
The leg warmers was more like early 80s.
Yeah, that was like that was real late. That was real back then.
That's so funny.
Man, so what else is on your...
Whatever God gave me. He didn't give me a bunch of it, but I sure worked with it.
You worked it, right?
I tell you, my husband and I went to, I think it was his 30th high school reunion. And I had on this long black dress. It was a sexy little dress, right? And I'm not really a thick person, right? Mm-hmm. So one of his classmates told him, he said, you really done good.
He was still showing you off.
I said, I'm gonna take that. I'll take that.
Elise, how long you guys been married?
So it will be 49 years on Sunday.
Come on now.
So you're celebrating the anniversary this weekend.
Yes, Sunday will be 49 years.
Nice.
49
Hope y'all are doing
years
something.
of marriage.
Look, I tell him I'm leaving that up to him, and he's like, "But what you want to
do? That is awesome.
You have
That's
to celebrate that.
49
That's amazing.
years
That's a
of
blessing right there.
marriage.
With the
Yes.
same person. Come on now.
That's
Hello.
the same person." And I tell him,
Yes.
I tell him that the best thing about us, and I was telling my kids too. I said the best thing about us that we don't just love each other, we like each other.
Yes, that's important. I
Yeah,
say
that
that all the time.
You can
Yes.
grow out of like with each other quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
A couple of squirts on the wrong side of the toilet seat, y'all be. I mean, it'd be a feud.
Well, I always tell people that it's not about the toilet seat. It's something underneath.
Yes, right.
It's never about the cap off the toothpaste or the sprinkles on the toilet seat. It's something deeper.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you
Amen
go.
to that.
You gotta
Oh,
keep it going. Communication is key.
It's the work.
Mimi says,
Real
yes,
work.
marry your friend. Marry
Yep.
your friend.
Yep,
If
he's
you
my
don't- if you
best
don't-
friend. There's no
if you
secret
don't-
about me. He doesn't know everything. He knows everything there is about me. Everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
You have to like the person you're with, because if you fall out of love with that person, at least you still have this might be controversial to say, but if you have the like, it's still there.
Yeah, Adrian says, I say that at every wedding I officiate, like is as important as love.
Yeah,
It is.
I agree.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
I used to
Who
bake
had that
wedding
back?
cakes. I used to bake wedding cakes for people.
Oh,
And the
really?
thing with the wedding cake came a conversation, of course.
Ah, look at you. So you would give cake and wisdom.
Yeah, because I would tell them, I said, do not start anything that you're not willing to do for the rest of your life.
Ooh, Mrs.
Mm.
Don't go in there trying to show somebody something who you really aren't, and then you get married and 2 years later you don't want to do that anymore. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't start something you're not willing to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Adrian
Okay,
says,
so
looks like Auntie
we
G
don't-
has a question about that.
Well, actually, we don't. I don't have that question. I was agreeing
Yeah.
because as I always tell people who ask me, is like whatever I do for whatever I want my spouse or partner to do, I should be doing that already. So my husband met me. I buy flowers for myself. I buy bottles of champagne. We do big things.
Yes.
So when he married me, he continued that. Like it wasn't something new. I was already doing that.
Yeah.
And I told him, like Miss Elise, if you're gonna do something special, don't make it a one-time deal because it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Like don't come as you are. You don't have to
Come
do like
as you
all these
are.
extra things. Like that's not necessary. But you and I, Ron, had a chat about how a number of couples don't like each other and don't have these really honest conversations. Now, my husband was like, "Who did I marry?" And I tell you, I feel so blessed to have this man in my life, like all of my foolishness accepted, and I am
That was
sometimes
me.
TMI. You know, like our first road trip, I said, "Say, man, I travel with Poo-Pourri and Kleenex Cottonelle wipes. So just be advised." Like I let him know I'm feeling kind of gassy right now. You know what I'm saying? So just be aware. And he's thinking, I don't need to know
Like, can't hear
all of
anybody.
this. I don't need to know it. But that's real life though. Like you can
We hear
always
you.
know spouse's habits. So
Yes. But I always tell people, I mean, it's
Am I muted?
Adrian's in the room. And I'm not to embarrass him, but
He's having a hard time hearing.
I remember when Adrian came running to the house and say, "Pop, I found my wife. And he's over the time with he and Nancy. Nancy's the best thing. I mean, I look at them together. I look at them today together. I looked at them when they were 20 years old together. I looked at them when they were 19 years old, 18 years old together. And they are truly friends. They are friends and they mean the world to each other. And a lot of people don't get that. I always say couples that find that are lucky. Take it from the single dude that almost got married with, it was definitely not my friend. She was definitely not my friend. And but you realize that that's the key. That is a major ingredient, is that friendship part, that you could do it. You could just be you,
right,
and be accepted for you, and they love you for you,
Right.
and it's reciprocated.
And my mother said, girl, that man either loves he said he either loves you or he's crazy.
Sorry about that. I couldn't hear you guys.
That's okay.
Because
Yeah,
I was one of those people. I didn't pretend to be anything but who I am. I was
just be
me.
you.
That whole vocal me, which is a part of, because I always ask him, because you all know my story where I told you at age of 16, God said that's gonna be your husband. It was a surprise to my husband. But anyway.
Oh, your story is so do you want to share your story?
So my story.
Not everybody knows your story. I know your story, but I don't think a lot of people know your story.
Oh, you don't know my story?
Oh no, you got to hear this story. You got to hear Elise. The Elise story is. Go ahead, Elise. Take the stage.
So the story is like my husband and his family actually lived next door to us in Ohio, and I was actually like he had two younger brothers and everything, and we were all just friends. It was 3 girls in my house and 3 males in his house and our mothers and stuff. We were just all just friends, nothing more than that. I would bake cake, and at that time it was box cakes, and we taught him how to play cards, and my sister would braid his brother's hair, that kind of thing. There was no romance there. So, and when I first saw him, I thought he came home, and I was like, I asked my sisters, I said, so is he the younger one and the mother sends him away to a school or something? But no, he was the oldest brother, and he was actually in grad school.
Wow.
At NYU. I didn't know all that. So that first time I was like, oh, he's strange. He's just always reading the paper and walking the dog. So at the age of 16, and I tell this story all the time, he was passing by one day and God just downloaded it to me. That's you're gonna be your husband.
Oh, wow.
And so we were not romantic. We hadn't even had any kind of conversation. All we talked about was everyday stuff. He thought I was smart or whatever. So I told him, I said, well, God said you're gonna be my husband.
Okay, this one's
now,
crazy.
mind you, I'm 16.
Wow.
And he's in grad school. And of course, there was, I told him that. And my mother said, he was like, what do your mother think about that? I said, I don't know. I said, but you can ask her. And she was coming upstairs, and I said, well, he has something to ask you. So, he's asked her. And my mother, of course, was saying, he's older than you. He can do things other that you can't do. But God just said, that's your husband. And I asked him, recently, I said, so why did you just receive that as real? He said, it was what I said. And I guess must've been what he felt. And so that's how we didn't start dating. That's how we started dating each other, like talking to each other.
Wow.
It was never anything sexual, none of that stuff. And a lot of people, when they see the age difference and they hear the story, they think, oh, here's an older man grooming some girl or something. I said, no, it was never anything sexual. We never had conversation about male and female relationships, nothing. It was just simply what God said. And I shared it with him. He obviously received it. He was struggling with it for a little while. He went back to school. I think he was trying to resist that thought of, I'm going to date this young girl. He really struggled with that. But at the end of the day, we became a couple. He introduced me, of course, he introduced me to, fine restaurants and things like that my mother had never heard of. And people around us couldn't understand that we were not sexually involved at all.
Wow.
That we were just friends. It's just God putting us together. And what I say to this day is God put the man in my life that he knew would be able to work with me and become, and so that we can create the best things in each other. So that's really how we met. That's how we started doing. So, but I got married when I was 19.
Wow.
I got married at 19, but that's the story. So on our 25th wedding anniversary, I gave him a watch, and I had engraved on that God's gift to me.
Wow.
And that's, and when we got married, I tell people the story. I said, we were getting married. We weren't having a wedding. We got married on a Monday, which was the 24th was a Monday when we got married in Baltimore. We paid $10. I never took off my little leather jacket. and we went home. We went to Ohio to our family and said, because he had moved to Baltimore and I left school and went up to Baltimore, but we were engaged by that time. So when we got back for Thanksgiving, I said, we told him we're married now. My sister was like, I don't believe it. I said, well, here are the rings, whatever you want to believe.
Wow.
I think everybody was still just in awe of that, even my sister.
What's amazing also is that your families were already married. Like your whole families were already connecting, and it was just. You went for it. You said God told you, and you went for it, and you just said, I mean, I was like, you go. I said, go, Elise. I mean, and you're together to this day. I mean, 49 years.
Listen, I believe in it. I believe, like, what you're saying resonates with me wholeheartedly. I told my story. And I said that when I met Ronald, that the very night that I met him, I said to myself, well, I had a voice, God, that spoke to me and said, whatever this is, allow me to be open to it. And we've been together ever since. Right. We literally got married a year and a week after we met. So, when whatever it is you believe in speaks to you, know that is that higher power telling you that this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it happens it doesn't happen frequently, but when it does, listen to that voice.
The little still voice.
Always trust that voice that you hear, because it's not going to lead you astray.
Right. And I tell my husband this, and I've told people this about my husband. Some people don't believe in the idea of unconditional love. My husband taught me what unconditional love looks like and feels like.
Yep.
Because you love me, flaws and all. I had to grow up. I had to do a lot of things. So but I think that people have to know that we were friends. And even now, one of my neighbors said one day when she found out about the age difference, she's like, "Oh, so Mr. Starworth robbed the cradle." I said, "Why couldn't I rob the grave?"
Ooh, there you go.
Jesus Christ.
I love it.
You never said anything else after that.
Oh my goodness.
Now I tell you, Elise, you are so full of wisdom. I tell you. That was a mic drop.
Yes.
Like all the mics fell. All the mics.
We can stop right here.
I think people just have to stop assuming things about relationships.
Yeah.
It's not always what you think. And sometimes when you tell your story to people, when I tell my story to people, I don't question it. I don't even worry about what they believe. And Jazz has met my husband before. I can't tell people what to believe. I can only tell them what my experience was and what my truth is. And I tell people that's my honest to God truth, because I was actually planning on moving back to Alabama to live with my grandmother until that day.
Oh, wow.
And I already said to my grandmother, I'm coming back. And until that day happened, and that message was clearly spoken to me. And, that's what happened. And so I always tell people, I just told my nephew this too. And I've actually written this on paper before, that God placed 3 people in my life, 3 men in my life for my protection. The first one was my father, who I found out when I turned 60, whatever, that he was not my father, my biological father.
Wow.
The next one was the gentleman my mother was living with when I moved to live with her at the age of 10.
Wow.
The next one was my husband. All those men showed me so much love that I knew what love looked like and felt like. And they treated me with love and respect. So that they actually set the mold for what I would accept from males too.
Yes.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
people often talk about, marriage, and they see it as a contract. I mean, it can be for some people. And so when people speak about relationships, it's all lovey-dovey. But if you think about your vows, there's a lot of work there. And when I think about my parents, they got married young. They did have 50 years together. But, my mother suffered from being bipolar. She had postpartum depression and what have you. And she would have these literal breakouts, like manic depression. And the very first time it happened, my dad was told to put my mother in a ward and to put her away. And he's like, that's my wife. It's my wife. It's the mother of my kids. I'm not going to do that. And I watched my father, and she had these spells, bouts, whatever you want to call it, a few times. But I watched my father work with her, figure it out, and stay by her side. So much so that when I got older, I took over that because, you know, when people are manic, I mean, she was like literally Samson, you know, thought she was Kunta Kinte and all kinds of crazy shit. But he loved her all the same. Right. And I have seen them have money, lose money, be on assistance, come off of assistance. Like we have seen all the different levels of what loving somebody looks like and working through all the issues that come with being a couple and having a family. That my siblings, we all said to ourselves that we could get somebody like that by our side. If we could just have that, because it's not always sunshine and roses.
Right.
There are some storms. You know, there are moments when they even came apart for a hot second. And I thought, but this is like the best marriage ever. Like, I don't understand. But they worked through it. Like, it's work. This is another job. So when my dad was ill, my mother was in the hospital with him in the ICU up until the day he passed. Right. From beginning to the end, they were together. And all I could say was that's the model of love that I have seen. That just because something gets a little hard doesn't mean that you just throw in the towel and give up. You got to work through that. Now, there is a point where it's too much. You got to, but you do work through it.
You do. And you do. And I tell people all the time, you know, 49 years of marriage and 51 years of being together. You go through lots of things, but we talk about it. We go through it. And, you know, if we need 24 hours to think about something, we take that 24 hours, you know. And the one thing I told my husband, I say, you know, you have the right to your feelings.
Yes.
So if you're upset, be upset, express that you're upset. And when you're happy, be happy, but you don't have to hold it in. You have a right to feel what you feel about anything that happens. And so, you know, and we know our strengths. I know his strength and he knows mine. You know, if I write something, he reads it over and he takes out that red pen, you know, he does that kind of stuff. But so we actually, I learned what yin and yang actually meant through my relationship. And my children see it. They like, you know, my kids my daughter said she told guys, and when she went to college, she said, you don't have to be afraid of my father. It's my mother that's going to come.
Facts.
My husband is
right.
My husband he's the quiet storm. And I always tell people, if you get him to the point where he gets upset, then you need to go someplace.
You need to get out.
Because it's not going to ever be good. And he's never the one that does anything. Like the kids, they see him, but they knew that if dad got upset, he may not whip you, but you're going to wish he had because But I think, you know, you marry. And I think in relationship, you know, sometimes what I say is far too many people want to have a wedding. Not enough people want to be married. Or understand what it means to be married.
So hold on. Can I say something about that? I've realized most people that elope or just go to Justice of the Peace tend to stay married than people that have these huge, gigantic
It's the
weddings.
truth. It's the truth.
Because when you a lot of times when you go away or you just do it, you're doing it for yourself and not for everyone else around you. You know what I mean? And like, I see too many people want to have the big wedding just to say they had the big wedding. Then they're in debt from day one and they're fighting about this and that. And oh, we don't have this. Let me tell you something. Don't worry about what the next person's doing because one, you don't know how they got that or what financial straits they're in because they have that.
Oh, absolutely.
Focus on you, your partner, and your relationship. Don't worry about nobody else because the moment you start worrying about everyone else, you can't focus on what you got going on in front of you.
Yeah,
That's the one thing. That's just the one thing that I'm very happy that Ron and I have done from the very beginning. We never worried about what everyone else outside of us thought of. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed on a Sunday saying, "Hey, do you want to get married?" He said, "Okay," and we went to the Justice of the Peace a week later and got married. Because that's what we wanted to do. We weren't worried about what everyone else was going to think, what everyone else wanted, and that.
Right.
And we went back and said, look, hey, we got married. This is what we wanted to do. We didn't want anything big. We just wanted to have a few people there just to witness it. And that was it.
I remember it was an example to me. Two close friends of mine got married. and they were focusing on the wedding. They wanted a big wedding. They wanted all this stuff, everything. And it was the wedding debt that caused their divorce.
Wow.
So like, they could never pay off the debt. It just kept compounding over the time, over the years. And within 4 or 5 years, they were divorced.
Well, we only paid $10. $10 in the Baltimore courthouse.
$10 in the Baltimore courthouse.
We still have the receipt.
Yeah, actually, I have our receipt. I don't remember how much it was, but I still have our receipt. Right next to our marriage license.
Wow.
Well, Mr. Jack was a groomzilla. He was the groomzilla. I didn't need to have. I was like, we don't have to do all of this. He wanted to do a candy table. He wanted this. He wanted that. But he never had a wedding. Now I hadn't had one either. I was like, we can just get in the backyard, call today. And he was like, no, I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm thinking, I guess. But like in terms of decision making, that was mine. So prime example, the cake tasting. My dad went. He's like, I'll buy the cake. And I said, I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't need that. And the lady was like, well, that's only going to serve like 250 people. I was like, well, everybody ain't getting cake. So there you go. Like for me, I didn't see the need for the big. If you think about it, like it's a really big party that you're paying for folks to come in and drink up some stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And me, I'm just like, I don't want to pay for that. But my dad, because he's like, no, this is a miracle wedding. I'm gonna go all out
because it was a miracle wedding.
Like, I got to see this happen.
Can I pause? Can I interject before you go to the fridge so I can validate this moment? Wait, because Gwenda and I used to talk about this all the time. She was my work wife. We used to talk about this all the time. And one day she said, you know, Ron, this dating stuff ain't gonna happen. It's not, I'm done. I'm just done. And she was like. And she had a situation before, but she was like, I'm just done. And the next thing you know, it was like 2 months or a month later. And then she said, hey, I met this amazing guy, yada, 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 yada. And I was like, what in the world? And she lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, she was lit up. Oh, we went for this. We run together. We went running. He came, but I was like, this is a night and day moment. And she swore, I'm done. I am not thinking about marriage. I ain't thinking about no dudes. I'm finished.
It's when you're not looking for it. It's when it hits you.
It is true. It's when you're not looking for it. That is true.
And now, I mean, she got the greatest dude.
My big mama on my mother's side said when she met my husband and I was pregnant with my first child, she said, I didn't think you were gonna get married or have children because I complained so much about helping my sister with her 2 kids. I don't ever want to have kids. I don't never want to change a diaper. I ended up having 3, but we said when we got married we'd have 3 children.
Wow.
And that's exactly what we did.
You guys are very intentional.
Yes.
We were very intentional, and it's always this thing. I'll tell you, women they always tell you be very specific about what you ask God for. So there were like a couple of things and I was 14.
Wow.
I decided I wasn't going to date in high school, number one, but I made this list. It was very brief of what I wanted in a man. So he had to have a certain build, so a slimmer build, which was like my father. Couldn't smoke or drink. And that was it.
That was it. Simple.
That was all. And my husband, it was slimmer build. He didn't smoke or drink. He's never smoked. And we used to try to drink.
Check.
But not that. But that was it. I didn't have a big thing. There was no major thing. And I was, like I said, I was only 14 at that time when I made that list.
Wow.
I didn't have a list. Although I do recall Ron telling me when some of the guys that he said that I was that he's like, he's not your type. I don't have a type. He was like,
throw that one away. Throw that one away.
Ron was clear. Now, I mean, I didn't have a type, but I do enjoy a lot of dark chocolate. Okay, I'm just saying like that.
That was one of my. I skipped that one, Gwendolyn. He had to be brown.
He's like, I don't know where you met this guy from.
Okay, guys, we're gonna have to end it here. This was a great conversation for today.
This was water cooler.
This was truly water cooler conversation. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I mean, this is always you never know about one another until people start talking. So this is a great time together. And man, thank you guys for popping on with me today. And Chris and I will be here tomorrow. We have our Trend Watch Thursdays. And so tomorrow we'll be talking about some politics tomorrow. We will dive a little bit into just a little bit. But again, trying to stay away from too much politics these days. I think we had enough of it for a moment and just kind of just enjoy these moments of just being a community. And I think this was a lot of fun, just hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, I have a photo shoot this evening. Keep me in your prayers as I go out and photograph. Again, speaking of that, I need to do my banner situation, right? I need to do my banners. I gotta be committed and consistent. If you are looking for an event photographer, my name is Ron Foster, and I do event photography. And if you are interested in a photographer or know someone that wants an event photographer, give them my name, give them my name and number, and they can give me a call, and we can set something up. Also, again, thank you for all the folks that sponsor this platform, Rolling Clouds, Rhythmus, and also our wonderful Patreon community. And if you want to be a part of that, you are more than welcome. And if you want to, let me just pop this off the screen. If you want to also put your banner on here and share what you do, just DM me and we can share how that works. And you can get your stuff up here. So you can let me just share my email so you can do that real quick. Let me get that to you. All right. So if you want to do post ads, DM me at ronlewisphotos@gmail.com. So if you want to do that, you have a business that you want to just shout out, and yep, we can do that here too. We need sponsors, and that would be a good way to get sponsors and advertisements. Okay, guys. Last word, Gwendolyn. What's your last word?
Oh, shit. You know what? Enjoy the day. Real talk. And if I know we've had a tumultuous election season, but one of my best ideas of resistance is to just enjoy the day. Share your joy.
Chris, what's your last word?
Continue to live life along the same lines of Gwendolyn. I was telling people, if it means stepping away from TV and politics and the news, do that, but continue to live life.
And Elise?
So I agree with everything they did, and find the joy in the day. Find the joy in the day, because there's joy in every day. Find it. Go and be intentional about finding it.
Yes.
Intentional.
Yeah.
I love it. And I always like to say, have a happy hump day. As I see in here, the hump day, it is hump day, but also live life like you mean it, and make sure you focus on what matters. Okay, guys, we're out of here. See you tomorrow. Later.